Hi. Oh my God, what a time. All right. I am going to read some random pieces of things. I am cat sitting right now. During the first few performances, I did clean cat puke off a rug. I just wanted to announce that to everyone because I feel like end of Women's History Month. I just want you all to know that like women can do it all. Just want to put that out there. Nice. Okay. I'm gonna read some like short-ish essay type things, you know. Um, and yeah, cool. A little bit about me before we get started, I guess. I am primarily a comedian and I like do write poetry and all this shit. This is a part of like a short project, a book of sorts that I'm working on called Something Stupid Sweet That Fades. And it's kind of vignettes of a manic woman, is how I keep describing it. But also just a lot of things rooted in identity, loneliness, isolation, and just bowel movements. So all your bases are covered. So this is a essay that I turned into a poem and then I turned it back into an essay. Just like bisexuality, I keep flip flopping. So here's the group chat. There is nothing like crying about nothing to a group of equally unhinged women. Those women who remind you to eat and breathe and shit together, then take a gulp of liquid courage that burns down the gullet a couple of drags in. The women who let you slur sentences under cloudy pink floodlights on ceramic tile laced with Pabst. All those shows about girls linking arms down the streets of New York wish they were us. They wish they were as mean, as loud, as brash, and as sensitive as we are, can barely approach the surface of our tenacity. The messages that have been sent to men who have hurt me from women in the group chat, all of them pouring over a cauldron of knives. The ghoulish grins we all put on our faces when we work together to seek revenge. Our chat is an archive of screenshots, a mapping of all the love lost and faded crushes, ephemera of sorts, or as Jose Munoz describes, as traces, glimmers, residues, and specks of things. These things being lineages of romance and of late nights, of varying heartbreaks and collective wins, of feeling, of milestones, of things turned sour, of weekday afternoons when we are all at our different jobs making jokes, laughter over a chat as respite. A channel for our gossip. I admire their dedication to brutal honesty. Our feelings are no longer contained in our individual bodies, but instead a shared vehicle for our joy, our sorrow, and our unwieldy roasting. Between photos of various pets live secrets safely tucked away in blue bubbles. I'm so stoned when I text, all while watching Real Housewives, like, ladies, this is so us. We love getting into trouble while sending photos of our asses, telling each other, that's the one, actually, this is it. I've seen everyone's nipples and memorized them by heart because that's dedication, even though my therapist calls it obsession. And perhaps we are obsessed. Perhaps this is an attachment disorder. Maybe it is questionable that I can't make decisions on any menial purchase without sending a million photos to a group of women who are enablers. We want the before, during, and after of everyone's haircuts. We want updates on the first date during a pee break. Every photo of every meal while on vacation is necessary. I need to know about even the smallest fights with you and your partners. Every text to every potential lover must be greenlit by them. This is the DNA of our moral conduct. The constant stream of communication can be perceived as a lot, but we are building something. We are creating protection. We are encouraging each other to try with a guarantee that even if we fail, no one's skull will crack on pavement. Through the group chat, we can find traces of Marxism. There's no hierarchy in the sharing of feelings and experiences. It is a group's purpose to lighten the load for the individual that experienced the initial impact. Even joy can sometimes feel like bricks, so we each take a piece and celebrate. In sharing this way, I can envision futures beyond myself. I can find infrastructure for community care, and most of all, I find family beyond blood. Sure, we talk shit, but we are also intertwined in shared desires and dreams. If I were to print out the chat in its entirety, we can see a litany of sorts, chants of support, rounds of laughter. Before my parents, it will be my group chat to go recognize my body when I die of something stupid like eating too much dairy in one sitting while on an edible. And when I go, they'll be sitting there at my open casket, tits out funeral, like, wow, that is so her. And wow, can't believe we got to plan the funeral where all the men who collect records will gather in one place to worship my best friend's pussy. Hallelujah, they were blessed to swirl their nasty guitar picking fingers in her holes. But we know what they did. We remember. In fact, we can't forget because she wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. And good God, we will miss her, over emotional, erratic ass. But we forever have the catalog of her mistakes imprinted on the group chat. So that is, if anybody has an unhinged group chat of women, really kooky times. My next essay that I'm going to share, well, as you guys can tell by my very chill vibe and demeanor, I'm a stoner who works at a bookstore. And prior to that, I actually worked at a bookstore. And before that, I worked at another bookstore. So I've been working at bookstores for a hot minute. And June 2020, I went back to this bookstore that I got let go from, like, period, for that early COVID moment. And it was, I don't know if anybody else had to go back to work so early, but it was a very intense moment to jump back into work, I would say, because it was at this moment where everybody was buying anti-racist books and being really mad if they weren't getting it on time. Like, there was a white man who once threw an Angela Davis book at me, and I was like, that's like really gorgeous. I really love that because, like, you know, I know, like, I don't know how bright everyone's screens are, but I'm definitely not white. And so it was a very strange experience, but it was also a white-owned bookstore that I had a lot of trouble maneuvering through, as I kept getting, like, hired upward. And the thing that, like, kind of clung me into keeping on moving through was I had a really intense work crush. And I love a work crush because it makes you feel alive. You know what I mean? Like, I love a crush in general because you're like, I can, like, breathe again. You know what I mean? It's like there's a reason to get up in the morning, and it's to, like, send a meme to someone. And so I wrote, like, a short piece about that experience. Just a heads up, my crush was a 25-year-old rapper who was technically my subordinate at the bookstore. You know, yes, we love it. You know, they don't show this on TV, baby. Like a broke 30-year-old cat sitting for rent money doing a Zoom show. We love it. But I really was the moment that, while experiencing, I felt really dark about. But as I step away from it and I work and live in a completely different headspace that feels so much healthier, it's just kind of funny to look back. So this is called Love in Hell. Doomsday is coming, and when it all ends, it will peel open a split screen of alternate universe me if I held it all together, and the current me queefing in bed again. I'm always trying to explain when it happens post-coital with strangers that it's not a fart, but even if it was, who cares? It's almost over. All these moments blend together and perform as a slow burn fade out of obsession. Time feels like it is oozing between my fingers, a slime that is slipping into cracks, getting stuck to carpet. It feels listless to even think about beginning again, but I do it anyways. A million billion restarts, and each reload, I end up just remaining me. Everyone around me reminds me that I am still / forever changing, expanding and contracting and peeling apart, shedding skin and packing pounds, constantly reading and listening and reforming my brain, but always, always, always carrying a sprinkle of dread. And my therapist, she is so full of hope and light, though. She tells me we always change with or without people around us. She's hues of pink and orange as I sit on the other side of the screen, half stoned, half awake. February 2021, I found myself looking for sedation. It was 8 months from when I decided I wanted to try to still be alive. I began placing one foot in front of the other, but by that February, I found myself walking in circles. I found myself in hell. Hell is not necessarily a place, but it is a feeling. To want is torture. There was a point in meeting you that felt like I was about to touch the sun. It was fascinating and engulfing and felt a little dangerous. Sometimes I think you really could have been just about anyone, but you just happened to be right there in front of me, making it easy to fall into hysteria. Other times I remember that I saw fractals of Ryan in you, little glimmers of a boy who was no longer here. It's strange mourning someone who appears in everyone I have love for. So when February 2021 arrives, I am in the thick of something different from wanting to die. There were similar strains of feeling untethered, but it is entwined with spurts of knowing there is eventually always light. I also had built up so much energy and tension with you because remember, I was in hell, a hot, fucking fiery hell of wanting to push you up against the poetry section of the bookstore. Every day at that goddamn bookstore was monotonous as fuck, selling Sally Rooney to white women with stringy hair and hiding heavy stacks of the Obama memoir under tables. Sorry, she's great. She's fine. Yeah, everyone can read her, Beautiful world, whatever the fuck. Um, Daily boredom was broken up by getting stoned on my lunch break and taking control of the aux cord to see if you like my playlist. Hell is me waiting for you to reply to a meme I sent 12 hours ago. Hell is finally getting what you want, but not having the capacity to express your desires. I was still crawling my way out of a hole I spent 29 years digging, and I was almost out of it when we finally collided. Mismatched teeth crashing into each other, impatient hands moving in heat. This may sound like something that was uttered in an abstinence-based sex ed class, but there really is nothing sexier than waiting. The corny ass buildups. I miss running home from work to tell my roommate that while handing off a novel, I accidentally touched hands with a boy who would later tell me the best way to eat a peanut butter jelly sandwich was to keep it smushed at the bottom of your backpack for a full day. I savored these little moments because it reminded me there is sweetness even between breakdowns. Some of you didn't spend all of 2020 into 2021 sedating yourself with a pocket full of pills and a head full of marijuana, and I envy you. I envy anyone's composure as I combusted into chaos, all of my friends rolling their eyes at me because I fell for a 25-year-old who never wore a helmet, and I couldn't shut the fuck up about it. I'm still unwinding myself from the embarrassment of it all. To have an ass full of soft shit and a heart full of regret is humiliating. But I'm slowly gluing the pieces back together from disappointment and actions as a result of boredom. It wasn't you who temporarily destroyed me. Folks who know me best can attest that I'm a DIY girl. I can into a spiral all on my own. I don't necessarily need anybody, but it was nice having you on the way to help me crack wide open. When the year ended, I felt puffed, full of pride. I became some sort of aged jewel, an artifact found beneath layers of dirt. So all I ask of my future lovers is to prop me up in a glass box and observe me. I am gleaming, gorgeous, unable to be ignored. I am fascinating object with sharp edges. To my future lovers, please wear me on a necklace, hide me in a safe, protect and preserve me only to bring me out on occasions like your enemy's funeral or your mother's wedding. I will keep close to your chest and forget about my own. I'm secretly collapsible and easily mushed into whatever mold you'd like despite my angular disposition. I want someone who agrees that it's not so bad being stoned all the time. I've learned to feel lighter than air with sandbag feet, keeping me to the ground. So when the world spins out in a way, I'll stay here, waving goodbye to you all, because I knew that no matter what, you'd eventually leave me here in hell. Thanks, guys. That's all my time. Thanks for having me.